It all started with a 911 call from a woman who claimed to be a part of the neighborhood watch. She told the dispatchers that several men were living in a home in the area and said she suspected illegal activity was taking place in the area.
Police say the 911 call that led to the death of rapper Young Scooter was a lie. Police arrested the woman who made that 911 call earlier tonight.
But this was a completely fabricated lie, and that false call eventually led to the death of a rapper on his birthday. In this video, I want to talk about the unfortunate death of rapper Young Scooter. Kenneth Bailey, professionally known as Young Scooter, was a 39-year-old rapper born in Walterboro, South Carolina. When he was 9, however, his family moved to Atlanta, the city that would shape his identity and career. He had been in the rap game for years and was highly respected in the southern hip-hop scene, more specifically in Atlanta. Young Scooter had close ties with Future and officially signed to his label imprint, Free Bands, back in 2012. He continued making moves throughout his career, eventually becoming a staple in Atlanta's trap scene. So to hear that his life ended in the way that it did, truly heartbreaking. On Friday, March 28th, Atlanta police received a 911 call from a woman who claimed that a nearby home was involved in illegal activity. The caller, 31-year-old Demetria Spence, also known as Demi Blanco from the reality show Baddies, alleged that serious crimes were taking place in the area. She specifically claimed that shots had been fired inside the house and that a naked woman had been dragged back into the same home.
These guys they're like selling drugs in and out of the house. All you see is guys coming in and out of the house with guns and stuff. They holding guns in the air, and then it's like, I'm not sure if they're pimping, but it's the situation that's going on right now. This girl doesn't have on any clothes. They threw her outside. He was fighting the girl. He literally fought the girl.
What happened next is that police responded to the residence at 273 William Nye Drive in Atlanta. When they arrived and knocked on the door, no injured woman was found. In fact, there was no woman at all. According to police, when they knocked on the door, a man briefly opened it, but as soon as he realized it was law enforcement, he slammed it shut. That immediately raised suspicion. Officers quickly set up a perimeter around the home, and in a state of panic, 2 men attempted to flee the scene. One of them turned back and returned to the house shortly after, but the other man, later identified as rapper Young Scooter, kept running. Scooter hopped 2 fences in an attempt to escape, but the chase didn't end the way anyone expected. What started as a simple knock on the door quickly turned into a more serious situation.
Officers responded to a dispute with a weapon. It was advised in the call remarks that shots were fired and a female was dragged back into the location.
Officers say a man opened and immediately shut the door. They say that's when 2 men darted out of the back door.
As Scooter kept running, hopping over 2 fences, in a desperate attempt to get away from the police, it's still unclear what exactly happened during those final moments. But when officers finally located him, he was lying nearby, clearly injured and in pain. Emergency responders quickly arrived on the scene and rushed him to Grady Memorial Hospital in Atlanta. But despite their efforts, Young Scooter was later pronounced dead. After the news of Scooter's death broke, there wasn't much information available, and that left for rumors to spread. One of the biggest ones, that Young Scooter had died in a shootout. Rapper Young Thug, and has been close to Scooter in the past, added fuel to the shootout rumor by tweeting about it, which led many fans to believe the story was true. But eventually, the Atlanta Police Department came forward and shut it down. And shortly after, the Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office released the official autopsy report. The cause of death, a penetrating injury to the right thigh. The manner of death was ruled an accident. According to the medical examiner, Scooter's injury was not from a gunshot wound. Instead, it came from a piece of wooden fence, or debris, that pierced his leg while he was trying to hop over at least 1 fence. The injury caused massive blood loss, which ultimately led to his death. After Young Scooter's death, someone had to be held accountable, and that's when police issued an arrest for 31-year-old Demetria Spence, the woman behind the 911 call. For the next 48 hours, officers were actively searching for her. Then, on April 1st, Atlanta police officially announced they were on the hunt for the woman whose false report set off the tragic chain of events that led to Scooter's death. Prior to her arrest, Demetria Spence actually took it to social media, and instead of staying quiet, she doubled down with more lies about what really happened, likely trying to protect herself from public backlash. Why run to social media during a time like this? Probably not the smartest move, but who knows what she was thinking, if she was even thinking.
Giving you what led up to the call. I was physically abused, so I called to protect myself. That's the issue. That's part A. I never had any intentions to get anybody hurt. I was the one that was getting hurt.
Police were able to easily identify her through social media activity, which ultimately led to her arrest. She was charged with a felony for allegedly transmitting a false public alarm that resulted in serious bodily harm or death. According to Georgia law, if convicted, Spez faces up to 10 years in prison and a fine of no less than $50,000. So a completely made up, fabricated lie by this woman led to the death of a man on his birthday. That's tragic on every level. But the question a lot of people have been asking is, why did Scooter run when the police arrived at the house? Truth is, I don't really have that answer, and none of us really do. If he hadn't committed a crime in that moment, you'd think he wouldn't have anything to worry about. But maybe it was a reactionary response. Maybe he just panicked, right? Like a defense mechanism probably kicked in, because people who've lived through certain experiences with, let's say, law enforcement sometimes don't wait to see how things end up playing out. So who knows what Scooter was thinking in that particular moment. Nonetheless, it's a heartbreaking story. I've known about Scooter ever since he came out, so to see him go out like this, it's extremely sad. I honestly hope she gets the maximum sentence and is held fully accountable for the domino effect that led to Scooter's death. Because why would you make up a bunch of lies like this? I don't really know, especially when none of what you said was even true. This type of crime actually falls under what many people know as swatting. Swatting is a dangerous form of retaliation that's gained popularity online. It involves someone making a false report to police, claiming a serious crime is happening at a specific address in order to trigger an emergency response. In some cases, it even leads to SWAT teams being dispatched to the scene, and it's actually more common than you might think. One of the most infamous cases happened on December 28, 2017, and led to the death of an innocent man named Andrew Finch. He was a 28-year-old father of 2 young children who was shot and killed by a Wichita police officer less than 10 seconds after stepping out onto his front porch. The shooting happened after someone made a fake 911 call, claiming there was a violent hostage situation at his address. The call was completely false, but it still triggered a full SWAT response. But the man who stepped outside, Andrew Finch, had done absolutely nothing wrong. He had no idea a fake 911 call had been made or that officers were expecting a deadly situation. As Andrew walked on his front porch, police ordered him to raise his hands. But when he briefly lowered them, likely out of confusion, he was shot and killed by a sniper. In less than 10 seconds, he had passed. So how did all of this happen? Well, it was over a video game, Call of Duty. In December 2017, 2 gamers, Casey Viner and Shane Gaskill, got into an argument over less than a $2 bet while playing Call of Duty. Gaskill gave Viner an old Wichita address, not realizing what would come next. One of the guys, Viner, then contacted a man by the name of Tyler Barris, a known swatter living in Los Angeles, and convinced him to make the fake 911 call. Barris then called police and falsely claimed there had been a shooting and hostage situation at that address. Officers rushed to the scene, unknowingly responding to a complete lie. At the time, Barris was living in a homeless shelter in Los Angeles, according to DMV records. Police arrested him the very next day on December 29th and interviewed him shortly after taking him into custody. Barris was later sentenced to 20 years in federal prison. Casey Viner received 15 months in prison, while Shane Gaskill was sentenced to 18 months. As for the officer who pulled the trigger, Justin Rapp, he was never charged for Andrew's death. So this kind of stuff unfortunately happens. Specifically regarding Scooter's situation, I've seen some claims floating around on social media, and I don't know how true they are, but some people are saying she might have had a personal connection to Scooter, that he was dating her friend, and that they were throwing a party at the house, and she wasn't apparently invited. Again, I can't really, confirm whether that's true or not. Maybe some of y'all know more than me, so please let me know in the comment section below. But if there is a deeper, backstory or personal motive behind that call, it would explain something, right? Regardless of that, though, let's just keep it real, man. Like, who calls 911 and makes up a whole story that could lead to someone getting killed knowing that story is fake? Like, you got to be insane. That aside, this fake 911 call that got young Scooter killed is truly a tragic story. My condolences go out to his fans, his friends, and most importantly of all, his family. If you made it this far, you can't leave this video without dropping a like. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you're new here, my name is Blacky Spez. Nice to meet you, and thank you for subscribing. Welcome to the family. We got plenty of room. Any thoughts on this tragic death of young Scooter? Very, very tragic. I mean, unnecessary way to go out. Like, imagine making it to 39 years of age and accomplishing, as much young Scooter accomplished, right? Just to die from another person making a fake call like this. I mean, I don't really understand it, and I hope she faces repercussions for her actions. Curious to hear what you guys have to say about this topic, though. Catch you guys in the comment section below, but most importantly of all, catch you guys in the next video. Peace. I'm out. Have a good night. Take care of yourself. Peace.